Thank you very much, 𝓤𝓾𝓷𝓭𝓪 and 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓼 for today's Sunday Pūjā chanting. Back with us, Brother Leng Huat will share on the continuation of the Buddhism for Beginners, Part 10. Over to you, Brother Leng Huat.
Thank you, Brother Terence. Thank you, the chanters, Sister Doris, Sister Xiu-Fong. Thank you for kickstarting this Sunday Pūjā. I've been away for quite some time. I was overseas. I came back. I was down with some bad cough. So today's session is actually kind of not well informed. People are not well informed. It's okay. Nevertheless, we will just continue. Now, today, actually, for part 10, we will actually talk about the cessation of suffering. Yeah. So I have only one beautiful slide for you. Let me try to share that. Terence, when we stop sharing, then I will share one slide only. Let me try to share this. How do I share slide? Mana itu? Okay, let me try. You get it correct? Okay, I think I got it right now. Give me a minute to organize myself. Give me a minute. Okay, you can see my screen sharing. Okay, yeah, now the screen sharing is there. So for today's presentation, because we have covered the actually cause of suffering as our second noble truth. Today we talk about the cessation of suffering. So what do we understand? Important is what do we understand by cessation of suffering? So here we wish to quote to you how the Buddha defines cessation of suffering. So we will quote from the first discourse preached by the Buddha. It's called 𝓤𝓷𝓭𝓪𝓂 Sutta. Yeah. So here the Buddha defines cessation of suffering as. Now we want to be very clear with understanding how the Buddha defined this. Then we will understand better, I guess. 𝓤𝓚𝓪𝓂 𝓼𝓭𝓪𝓂 𝓼𝓵 𝑔𝓱𝑔𝓚 𝑔𝑚𝑢𝑡𝑡𝑎𝑛𝑎𝑙𝑦𝑜. Okay, so we will just remember this stanza, which is quite easy to remember actually. 𝓤𝓚𝓪𝓂 𝓼𝓭𝓪𝓂 Yo tassa yeva tanhaya asesa viraga nirodo chago patinissaggo mutti analayo. What does this mean? This is how the Buddha defines cessation of suffering. Furthermore, bhikkhu, this is the dukkha nirodo arya satcha. Dukkha nirodo arya satcha is simple. It means a noble truth of cessation of suffering. So, okay, we know the term dukkha niroda, dukkha niroda arya satcha. Okay, what does that mean? That means noble truth of cessation of suffering. Now, how did the Buddha put it further? Yo tassa. That is, the Buddha says, the cessation of suffering is yo tassa yeva only. But there's an emphasis of the word here. Yeva means the emphasis of the word. That is, this is the emphasis, yeva. Okay, that is being emphasized. Okay, that's what the Buddha says. The cessation of suffering that is, this is being emphasized by the word yeva, that is asesa viraga. Okay, what is asesa viraga? So the Buddha says asesa means, A means in front of the word A is the prefix that says nil, no nil, no. And sesa means remainder, no more remainder, that means complete tara. Okay, complete kosong. Okay, viraga. Viraga means, it is no remainder of raga. Okay, no more lust. Okay, it is a complete, no more lust, no more lust. There, okay. And also it means chago, we are abandoning or emancipation. Chago, abandoning or emancipation. Patinissago, letting go. Mutti, liberation. Analio, without any more attachment. Without any more attachment. So the Buddha uses specific words. Although in the English grammar and the Pali grammar doesn't coincide, but it means simply, furthermore, bhikkhu, okay, 𝓤𝓾𝓷𝓭𝓪𝓂 bhikkhave, this is dukkha nirodha arya satcha, the complete viraga nirodha, abandoning, forsaking, emancipation, and freedom from all that is that very tanha, that very craving. That means the Buddha is saying that the cessation of suffering is the complete freedom from craving. Okay, correct? So that is the simple way of understanding. It's a complete. Okay, now we understood. Now we understand. Now to understand the word letting go, let's revisit the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering, the Buddha also says, now we want to further understand. So now we will revisit another term. Then we will discuss after this. Now to understand better, let us revisit the cause of suffering as the second noble truth. We talked about it the previous time I was with you. Dukkha samudayang arya satchang. Samudayang means origin of cause. Okay, that's the cause or origin of suffering, which the Buddha said it earlier. When the Buddha defined dukkha, the Buddha says, what is this dukkha? This is also quoted from the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. The Buddha says, Sankitena panchu padana khanda dukkha. In summary, the Buddha says, concisely, or in summary, the Buddha says, it is the clinging aggregates, the clinging five aggregates. This is the cause of the suffering. Okay, so now we have to remember this. Now our discussion is all actually basing on this little stanza that we talk about. Okay, so now we have covered that craving earlier. We have defined craving. The previous time I met you as, make it simple, simply to understand. We say it's like an arrow. Craving is like an arrow. We say that it carries the poison, Poison of what? It carries the poison of ignorance. Ignorance. That the main toxin is ignorance. The main poison is ignorance. Because it's toxin. How does this toxin work? This ignorance work. How does this poison through the arrow? So we try to understand in a simple form, like an arrow that carries this toxin. And what is this toxin all about? This toxin actually is through the three poisons. Okay, the main poison is ignorance. Now there are three sub poisons here. We call it greed, we call it hatred, and we call it delusion. These are the three poisons that make up into ignorance. So ignorance, okay? So the main, this arrow is ignorance. They shoot you, it carries these three poison called greed, hatred, and delusion. And this poison works through the body, okay? And what does this poison do to the body? This poison actually will poison our body, and then we will remain ignorant and we remain in samsara. We remain in samsara because of these three poisons. These three poisons called greed, hatred, and delusion. Or you can call it ignorance. In the old format, it's called ignorance, avidya. Okay? That is ignorance. Okay? The Pali term is avidya. Okay, so never mind the Pali term. So we talk about ignorance because it carries these three poisons of greed, hatred, delusion. Okay? So with these three poisons are what we are trying to get rid of. These three poisons is, so we are talking about now, to understand cessation of suffering, we must first understand. We go back to the second noble truth, what we are talking about, that tanha, the desire, the clinging desire, that is the cause. The main cause is the clinging desire, or the Buddha puts it as the 5 aggregates. The clinging 5 aggregate, the desire should be let go of. How do we let go of this desire? Okay? So, but we have to be very careful. We said it before. Hold on, give me a minute. No, wait. Give me a minute. I will stop my screen sharing. I think you have seen the word enough. Okay, we stop the screen sharing. Let me. Okay, I stop share. Okay, so we stop the screen sharing.
You're muted, Brother Tan.
Okay, sorry. some distraction here. Okay, we have covered on the definition of suffering as quoted in the Dhamma-cakkappavattana Sutta. We said that dukkha nirodha arya satya, which is 𝑔𝓚𝙗𝓖𝑎 𝓚𝓐𝑎 𝑉irāga nirodho 𝑐āgo patinissaggo mutti anāliyo. So now, to better understand, we say we must revisit the cause of suffering as a second noble truth. We know what we have to revisit to understand what is cessation of suffering. Because people talk about Nibbana, So we think about Nibbana as a big heaven or main heaven that the Buddhists aim to go. So that's why we need to define what is this Nibbana all about, which the Buddha says is cessation of suffering. Okay? So now we revisited the dukkha samudaya arya satchang, which is samudaya means origin or cause, cause of suffering. What is this dukkha? We say, what is this suffering we talk about? So you see, now we are talking about cessation of suffering. We have defined the cessation of suffering. Now we must go to also revisit the second noble truth a bit, and also revisit the first noble truth a bit, for clearer understanding. So here the Buddha says in the first noble truth, when the Buddha defines suffering, remember, the Buddha says, Sankitena panchu padana kanda dukkha. Correct? Okay, so what does that mean? 𝓤𝓾𝓷𝓭𝓪 in summary or concisely. The Buddhists make it very clear. Okay, precisely, or we say in summary, or the Buddha says precisely. It is 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓐𝓪. This is dukkha, the Buddha says. What is 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓐𝓪? Is pancha upadana khanda. 5 pancha upadana is clinging, the great desire, not only desire, not the little desire you want, but the great desire, the clinging aggregates, the 5 khandas. Okay, and this is suffering, the Buddha says. Okay, so now for us to understand what, when we talk about again suffering here, is the pancha upadana khanda. What is the meaning of this clinging aggregates? It's not easy, So in the third discourse delivered by the Buddha to the Kassapa brothers, the followers of the Kassapa brothers, the 1,000 of them were there. The Buddha one go and got all to be Sotapanna. What did the Buddha teach them? The Buddha gave them a simile of fire. Because they were fire worshippers. Now, it's easy for us to understand now, because we are modern people. We understand what are fire worshippers and what is a simile. So the Buddha gave them a simile. They are fire worshippers. The Buddha says, good. Now the Buddha gave the sermon to the followers of the Kassapa brothers. They are all fire worshippers, and the Buddha told them this: all is burning. Wow! So when they heard all are burning, what is this? All are burning. Not Islam. My grammar sometimes get confused with Pali grammar also lah. Kadang-kadang kita ni surah. Okay, so all are burning. Though it is called 𝓷𝓼𝓲𝓼𝓷 Sutta, the third discourse given by the Buddha. So the Buddha tell them, 𝓷𝓼𝓲𝓲, all are burning. So they also panic lah. They are fire worshippers. What do you mean all are burning lah? So see, this is the way to understand what you mean by clinging aggregates lah. You see, what to understand by what do you mean by clinging aggregate is suffering, So let us refer to this parable, that this sutta the Buddha used as a parable for the fire worshippers. Because the Buddha says, form is burning, feeling is burning, perception is burning, volitional formation is burning, consciousness is burning. Though saying thus, the bhikkhus the instructed noble disciples experience a new feeling for all these things that they're talking about. What form is burning? So now through this understanding, they experience the new understanding of all this that is burning. Through this is the applied form, applied smelling, applied sound, all our 5 faculties lah. So now the Buddha says, now form is burning. What do you mean by form is burning? Form includes your sound and everything lah, your faculties. So now the Buddha defined for them carefully that the form that you see is through your eyes. Okay, so it is like eye consciousness that makes you recognize the form. Okay, and this consciousness of the eye are all burning in a sense. What do you mean? They bring you a lot of things. Okay, we'll go that slowly lah. We'll go through it slowly. Okay, so we say they all are burning. So I'm clinging to the desire of craving. And what is this craving all about lah? So the Buddha says, now we have gone through the second noble truth. He says that tanha craving is the cause of your suffering. Now, we want to define suffering to understand. When you say pancha upadana khanda, what is this? So the Buddha says, these panchu are your form that you see through the eyes, your perception, your volitional formation, and your consciousness are all burning. Okay? These are your 5 khandhas. So now, we have covered craving as cause of suffering, and we've spoken to you about the arrow. The arrow as the it carries the 3 most potent poison of greed, hatred, delusion. So now, what do we mean by this again? Now, what the Buddha is trying to say is actually, when we say that all these are burning, the form you see are burning, our eyes, the sensation of the eyes, surah tengok itu barang, surah mau, surah, it's all burning with desire, burning with lust, burning with delusion. Wow, what does that mean? What the Buddha says here is, now, this suffering that we talk about is that when your eyes sees something, there is no fault of the form, okay? Neither is it the fault of your eyes. Neither is it the fault of your consciousness also. Well, the eye consciousness only connect you and sense, but it is the overall of the mind that works to it. The whole world of the mind that actually tells you the form is burning, because when you see something, you should imagine. You start imagining, wow, that thing is so beautiful. You see, so whatever you see, the sensation, it brings you a sensory input. The sensation will generate a few kind of responses that you have. The sensation of that object. Correct. The object is innocent, the object is just, okay, you see a nice lady, that's all. But because of the sensation that generates a number of responses, So we take the eye, for example, the eye is burning, form is burning, we say, but eye consciousness is burning, eye contact is burning. Burning with what? We allow this sensation to continue to burn with desire. Correct? So with this desire that you have is either pleasant, correct, or unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. In short, it is sometimes pleasant and unpleasant, leads you to a lot of jealousy, correct? It leads you to jealousy, Okay, and then also the neither pleasant nor non-pleasant, that is where you become you must remain equanimous in what you see. Okay, so what are they burning with? They're burning with jealousy, burning with the fire of lust, the fire of hate. Now, what do you mean by the fire of lust? When we see something very nice, particularly when we see a nice woman, the fire of lust is burning. It is no fault of the woman. It's no fault of your eyes. Don't blame your eyes. Neither should you blame the pretty woman there. Blame yourself. The mind is working. Okay? Now it's burning with the fire of lust, like the Buddha says. Don't know, that's where you learn. Or the fire of hatred. When you have lustful feelings, you don't get, you tend to hate. You see, so the reverse feeling comes in. The reverse emotion comes in, and you feel that, that thing is no good lah, no good lah. That fella is bad lah. Macam-macam comes in because of you don't get jealousy, right? Then the fire of hatred burns in you. Fire of hatred that burns in you, and then with this fire of lust and fire of hatred, they will lead you to the fire of delusion. You become deluded. You become deluded. You feel that, these kind of things are all very bad in life, which is not true. Correct? But because of your lust and your hatefulness, basically the jealousy, that leads you to delusion. Okay? So now, you need to understand the fire sermon correctly. Okay, now when the fire says, what do you mean by lust? I've tried to explain to you again. Because when we say lustful, I say you see a beautiful lady or fine jewelry, you see, wow, you simply want to own it. Or your neighbor has a very nice, beautiful Porsche car, you simply want to own it. Okay? Because, okay, never mind, we come to the second part. So you simply want to own it, you don't get, what happens? You become jealous of it, and you think that, this is no good. So then you let it burn with the fire of hatred. It generates feeling of hatred to one another. You become jealous of your neighbor. And then this hatred will manifest. Okay? Now, then when this hatred is manifested, hatred and your apa tu tadi we say about your lustful feeling, it leads you to delusion. What do you mean by this delusion? Because you see, then because why are you deluded? Because we always equate material success as happiness. Itu masalah kita lah, betul? We always equate material success. Wow, you have more material success, you are happier than me. That is inevitable lah. Again lah, because we are all Putujanas, we still have that. So the three poisons are still with us. Okay? The three poisons are all manifesting inside us. So this becomes, we always equate happiness with material success, and these kind of ideas always lead us to delusion. So we are deluded by that. It's unfortunate. Therefore, that's why the Buddha says everything is burning, and this is the delusion we talk about. Okay, we are deluded. Okay, because we always think that wealth and material success brings happiness. I'm very sure we still feel like that lah. So during this time, so, okay. Macam now we are all preparing for Chinese New Year lah, Sometimes we take a look at neighbor's house, wow, so well decorated, wow. Then we also feel that we want to do it that way lah. We feel that, see, another form of delusion is like that lah. Wow, neighbor's house so well decorated. Mine is a bit cramped. I cannot do that now. Wow, he has a nice horse effigy there, golden horse, fire horse. Wow, you also want to have lah. You buy one lah. What your neighbor put, you also buy lah. Your house becomes crowded with all these things lah. That's called delusion. Because why? You feel that, if they have this, I don't have it, they get more success than me, All the ong will go to their place, not to your place. So you also do lah. That is what we call delusion lah. So we must be very careful lah. We mustn't be deluded by this kind of material things lah. It is not wrong to decorate your house. It is not wrong to prepare for Chinese New Year. It is not wrong to celebrate Chinese New Year, but do it on a moderate scale lah. Scale that we can afford lah. Kan? Okay, so that is what we talk about. So, okay, one form of understanding delusion is like that lah. Sometimes we will just take a peep, wow, our neighbor's house got so much of light, wow, I see so beautiful. So we think that this year they're more ong than you lah. You become less ong lah. You become less successful than them this year. So that is called delusion. So don't let these eyes burn with this sensation. Okay? Because when the eyes burn with this sensation of wanting and liking, and then you don't get, and then you feel other things lah. So that is why we talk about delusion. And what do you mean by delusion? So it leads you to that kind of delusion lah. So the metaphor is very useful. Remember the fire thing lah. The fire thing, the Buddha said all is burning. So your form, you start with the form. Form is burning. We see the form, it is burning. Burning with what? Burning with desire. Desire you like. You don't get desire you don't like. And then it leads you to delusion. Okay? So we forget to find the true happiness. The true way of happiness is to find the inner peace. Right? So let us remember, when we talk about this, we talk about when the Buddha says that the Panchu Padana Khanda is that dukkha, is to remove this so that you find inner peace. Correct? We need inner peace in order to experience Nibbana, in order to experience the cessation of suffering. The Nibbana is another term they use, but here the Buddha used the word as Nirodha, Dukkha Nirodha, cessation of suffering. So is to find inner peace, right? So that is what we need. So this message is very urgent. So you have to be very careful. That is okay. So that is what I will understand by That is what I will understand by cessation of suffering, is where we restrain our five senses. If we can restrain our five senses, then we will find inner peace. Then we must also, okay, then now let us see. Actually, we touch a little bit, you see. This Four Noble Truths for me is, you must touch here and there for you to understand in totality, I think. Then now, we talk about, we have experienced that everything is burning. We say everything is burning because if we mistakenly believe that things we see, sometimes we just see things, we are mistaken, and we think that, this is okay to do harmless okay, good. You think it is harmless, it is okay. Then what happens? Your mind will run further. You see, when you see it with the wrong view, wrong understanding, right? Then you let your mind explore further. Your mind must go and wander further, wander unattended. That is the problem we have. That is what we say, that your eyes are burning. The form is burning. Okay? Because we let it go, we let it wander unattended. So that is the meaning of what we say. Okay? And this is not careful, they lead you to delusion, we say. So now we burn with jealousy, and then now we will say that and this craving, remember we already talk about, we are stuck with this craving. There's 6 kinds of craving that we talk about. Craving for form, when we talk about form, we talk about sound also So these 5 senses in us must be restrained. We must learn to Buddhism is about restraining restraining so that we don't allow our eyes and the perception from the eyes to wander unattended, become wild. Then that is the danger we have. So not only that form we talk about, you also must worry about this craving for sound, your 5 senses, your eyes, your ear, and then you crave for odor, you like that kind of smell. You like the smell of durian, you follow the smell of durian. People bring you to the cliff also. Sometimes if they put the durian there, hang the durian king there, so you will go for the smell and just fall down the cliff. So that you have to be very careful. And then craving for flavors, your tongue, and then craving for tangible things, the touch and all those little things, your massage and all those things, and then craving for mind objects. So these are the 6 senses we learn to restrain. If you can restrain your 6 senses, you will not be trapped in samsara. Meaning to say that even now as a human being, if we can restrain our 6 senses, we have it under full control, you are an arahant. You can experience nibbana. Don't have to wait until we die to experience nibbana, okay? Okay, so that is what. So restrain. Then we talk about restrain, we have to remember again, be very, very careful with restraining. Now, we always say that Buddhism is all about restraining. So when we restrain, then we have very life of equanimity, where it's very comfortable, very calm, and that is what the Buddha says, cessation of suffering. Cessation of suffering. Okay, or the restraint of sense does not mean, I have said that in the previous discussion also, but I would like to repeat this. We say that restraint of senses does not mean denial of senses. A total withdrawal from this sensory world. Oh, I'm no more involved in this. I'm only go to do this, no more. New Year cannot celebrate no more I cannot, because I must restrain my senses. That is completely untrue. We say that we see It is not about total denial of senses. Remember, I said that before. And it's not about total withdrawal from the sensory world. We are putujanas, we are human, okay? Now, this is impossible. But even, let's say, even if you know somebody who actually has done it lah. New Year also no New Year for him. Don't worry. New Year or not New Year, it's just a day. Okay lah. You can do it lah. But the real problem will not be solved. Correct? Because the real problem is your mind. Remember, even if you have succeeded in this, you still have not solved the problem, because the Buddhism, we say that the real problem is still with your mind. You just restrain without understanding also doesn't make any sense now, okay? Not because you must learn to apprehend the signs, and the defilements in the mind. Okay? You must realize that it is, for example, we say again, we say the rupa again, okay? We see a beautiful lady, let's say, it's no fault of the lady that your mind went astray, Correct? You let your mind wander wildly. It's no fault of the lady, correct? The fault lies with what? With your mind. Don't think that I don't see good, beautiful lady, close my eyes, I don't see. Oh, beautiful jewelry, close my eyes, I don't see. No, it does not help you. It's only the physical, you shut off from the physical thing. What for? You must learn to control your mind, because the defilement of letting your mind goes wild, it lies in your mind, not in the sense organ, not in the eyes. So then you don't see anything lah. You blind yourself lah. It's not true. You can see, but don't let your mind manifest anything else. Don't let it manifest into all kind of things. That is wrong. Okay? Because so now we are saying here that restraining is not about total denial. Okay? Now, Chinese New Year, don't say, oh, now I'm a Buddhist, I cannot celebrate Chinese New Year anymore. Every day is a good day. Every day is the same day. No. Correct? That is not total denial. We are not saying withdraw from all these sensory organs. We need these kind of cultural practices because it brings together the family. Correct? And it's the support of the family and the community that will help you to progress in this world, not only materialistically. When we say progress here, we say it's also spiritual progress. Okay, we need the support of the community for our spiritual progress. For the monks to succeed, the community comes in to help him. For us to succeed in doing what we want, we need our family to be supportive of what we do. So this is what we call, we need the support lah. So, okay. So now we must understand that the key to sense control is indicated by what? By not apprehending the signs or the particular defilement, because the defilement lies in the mind, not in the sense organ. Remember, the defilement is in the mind. That is why when the Buddha did severe austerity, remember, he even succeeded in taking 2 grains of rice per day, became skeleton thin. Did he achieve anything? No. It just weakened his body. So he realizes that no, it is not true. It is not the body that's at fault, it is the mind. Then he trained his mind. He sat under the tree for meditation. Then only he realized. Okay? So we must remember it's a sense organ. It is the defilement that lies in your mind. If the sense control is lacking, the mind roams recklessly over sense fields. Correct? First, it grabs the sign, then sets the defilement into motion. Then it explores the particular, then you allow it to continue and permit it to multiply and multiply and multiply, whenever we trap ourselves in samsara. Okay? So the simple thing is for me to conclude. Of course, there are, okay, just as a just a quick conclusion, to restrain the sense requires that mindfulness and the clear understanding. to be applied to the encounter with the sense field. We must have the clear understanding and the mindfulness when we encounter with the sense field. Okay? Because the sense consciousness occurs in a series as a sequence of momentary cognitive acts, each having its own special task. Remember, correct? Every stage has its automatic function, okay? And the mind adverts to the object, apprehends it, and admits the percept, examines, identifies it, That is why we say that practice is more important. We will come and cover that. I'm not sure whether I've covered that before, but never mind. Okay. So that is why the Buddha says it's very important where we see, we understand, and we realize. Okay? So that is what we mean here. We see, we understand, and we realize. So we see mindfully with clear understanding, and then we apply to the encounter with sense feel. Okay? Science, because the sense consciousness occurs in a series as a sequence of momentary cognitive acts, each having its own special task. Remember that. And then when mindfulness is absent, what will happen? Then your latent defilement will all manifest. Okay? All of us have a lot of latent defilement in us. So if we are not careful, we don't see things mindfully, we are allowing this latent defilement to manifest. And all want to champion each other. All the dirty thoughts want to champion each other, leading us to be deluded. So that is basically what we mean by that. Okay? So now maybe we will go more in now. Then the Buddha explained to us this is cessation of suffering. I hope I put it, so we understand the cessation of suffering. We understand that there should be restraint in our senses in order to achieve this. Now, next week, hopefully, we will meet again. Maybe we will talk about the methods the Buddha has put forward to us. The Buddha has put forward the method to us on the silver platter, the Eightfold Path, and tell us, take this and practice. So our duty is very simple. The Buddha has struggled for 6 years to find the key to this, key to overcoming this suffering, okay? And he has put it onto a silver platter for us. And I hope next week we can touch briefly on this silver platter of the DIY kit that the Buddha puts it for us. It's called the Eightfold Path. Way to restrain and way to restrain our sense organ in order for us to experience the cessation of suffering. Okay, and this cessation of suffering, I think I have defined for you I hope that I've defined for you the way I understood it, simply the way I understand it. I hope it will be useful for you all. I think with that, I say thank you very much for your time. And I hand this back to our brother Terence. And next week, time permitting, we will talk about the DIY kit that the Buddha brought to us. Okay, thank you so much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Brother Leng-Huat, for today's sharing. Just a minor correction. Next week, we are having Brother Ananda Fong. Okay, let's dedicate those merits we have accrued to all beings, whether they are seen or unseen. Akasatha ca bhummatha devanaga mahiddika punyang tamanamoditva chiram rakantu loka sasanang ettavata ca amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe dewa sabbe bhuta sabbe satta numodantu sabbampati siddhya idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontunya tayo and aspirations. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bye for now. Again next week.